Well, folks, Ireland against Wales in the Six Nations 2023, and they start their account, the Irish, pretty well. It's not the ideal return for Warren Gatland, but I do think there's some positives there to work on, believe it or not, despite the fact that it was 34:10. It's currently 5:15 in the morning. I've been up since 3:15, so I will try to keep my voice down a little bit so my kids keep sleeping. But yeah, we'll go over some key events and stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on this first Six Nations game from 2023. Not an ideal start for Ireland, even before the whistle was kicked. Whistle was kicked? You don't kick a whistle. Before the whistle was blown, because Gibson Park and Healy were kind of late withdrawals for the Irish squad. Gibson Park, for mine, was kind of a concerning one, because I do think he's been a key cog in the and everything good about this Irish setup at the moment. But especially in that first half, I thought Conor Murray, he filled in, he filled in pretty well. He hasn't had much starting rugby from what the commentator said in terms of getting starts. But he did it right. It was a cracking start, man. It was a cracking start from the Irish. Goodness gracious me. Some good field position after they forced the Welsh into kind of an awkward clearance. And man, 6 phases is all it takes before Sexton pops a ball up to Doris. 7 points to nil. The crowd is pretty much taken out of the game because, man, it's just ruthless and it doesn't let up. They get the second one not long later. They get a penalty in Wales' 22. They tap and go it. It's a couple of phases and boom, James Ryan, the big unit, is over. Finlay Beelham's the one doing the wee pop pass from 9. So lethal stuff, man. 14-0. It's almost like pin drop stuff in the Principality. So about as good a start as you could want from Ireland. And the Welsh guys at that point are just shell shocked. And I don't know, man. Things just keep going haywire. They concede a breakdown penalty from the restart. There was a wee moment where Tom Francis tries to get a bit of momentum, absolutely smashes Johnny Sexton, forces some loose ball. His hit was that big that they they thought he'd knocked it on in the tackle because the ball went flying backwards, but it was just, no, he hit Sexton that hard and Sexton's pass kind of spilled out. So at least that was something. And then Dyer kind of chased it through to see if he could maybe scamper a wee try from a hack through, but Hugo Keenan was kind of able to sweep and dot it down. But that is a 5-metre scrum to Wales, so maybe this is a chance to get a bit of momentum. They did manage to get 3 from it because the Irish boys ended up conceding a penalty pretty much in front. So much needed points from Wales after that horrendous start. It's 14 points to 3. But I mean, Wales conceded another penalty not long after the restart. Ireland opt for the corner. Ends up getting, I think, a knock-on and then a scrum penalty, and then they opt for the 3. So they kind of cancel out the 3 that Wales have just got. So, it's still pretty much going all Ireland's way despite the 3 points that Wales have managed to kind of hit back with. Wales on 20 minutes did manage to go through 9 phases. They were just starting to get some momentum, just starting to get a bit of flow. Like Alun Wynne-Jones had put in a nice offload. And goodness me. The Irish defence was pretty flat at that point, and biggest pass out on the right wing, James Lowe just snaffles the thing, doesn't he? And he's gone. I mean, Jack Morgan, to his credit, chases James Lowe back when James Lowe gets that intercept to at least force James Lowe to not score under the post. I mean, Sexton still gets the conversion anyway, but goodness me, that was a salt in the wound one for the Welsh, because as I said, they were just starting to get a little bit of momentum maybe. So 24 points to 3, pretty horrendous. What can Wales do? Ireland leave the door ajar for them, man. Ireland knock on the restart. Wales do get a chance to get points back. Hawkins, who I thought played pretty well, man, for a guy, what is he, in his second test? He went close, but I mean, Ringrose put in a great try-saving tackle. James Lowe snaffles a turnover or breakdown penalty anyway. So, I mean, this is the kind of stuff where I'm saying, like, it's not all doom and gloom for Wales. Like, and Ireland did, when they made mistakes, they were able to kind of make up for it, like I said, with Ringrose and Lowe. Whereas when Ireland had an opportunity, they just took it. So that, at the moment, for mine, is a big difference between the sides. Faletau gets pinged for not rolling on 27 minutes. So it's another penalty for Ireland. It's 27-3. penalty count by that point is about 9-1. It's horrendous for the Welsh. I mean, it evens out across the game, but I mean, you got Hugo, Keenan just gobbling up everything in the air. So it's pretty good stuff from Ireland, especially in that first half. Wales' defence, though, is determined not to concede that bonus point, especially in the first half. I mean, Tipuric, and I think it was Nicky Smith, managed to put in a try-saving tackle. They win a scrum penalty under a heap of pressure, so they're able to kind of get an exit when it looks like it's inevitable that Ireland are going to get that bonus point. Liam Williams and I think it was Josh Adams. Like, I guess you figure if you can't beat Keenan in the air, you at least need to like hammer him as soon as he hits the ground. They do that. They manage to win themselves a penalty when he doesn't release it. So at that point, the crowd is actually starting to come alive. They're starting to maybe see their side get a little bit of momentum out of this game. To the point where Jack Morgan got held up. Like, the crowd can feel like, hey, our side's actually onto something here. But then there's, again, the kind of poor errors like Tipuric chucking a pop pass to Faletau when he's not seemingly ready for it. So that gets knocked on. Wales get an attacking line-up before half-time. They lose the line-out. So you're just kind of shaking your head at the amount of opportunities they've had and not being able to capitalise on, or just kind of unforced errors. So 27-3 is a pretty horrendous halftime scoreline. Ireland have been clinical and also solid on defence, man. I mean, possession 60% Ireland, territories 54% Ireland. Wales have had to make 119 tackles to 62, and the penalty count is 9-5, so almost double. Wales on the wrong side of it. But second half, things even out a wee bit. I mean, it starts still the same for Ireland. Ringrose absolutely clobbers Dan Biggar. And credit to Dan Biggar, he's a tough guy, man. He gets up from it, but geez, it was right in his ribs. It was brutal hit. But I mean, Wales, despite that early kind of setback, they get the first points of the second half, and it's not quite game on. It's not quite game on, but I mean, it's at least momentum shifting, and the arm wrestle is at least back to being competitive. When they get a penalty, Wales go for touch. The line out, they don't really try to maul it, but they go through a few phases with the forwards, and eventually they get themselves some space. Liam Williams is able to just go over. I mean, Andrew Porter does flop on him after he scored the try, which the Welsh boys didn't appreciate. So a bit of handbags, but Porter gives away a penalty from that moment, so it's going to restart with a penalty. But man, 10 points on the board for Wales at this point, and they got a penalty to restart. What can they do having just got that momentum? Well, they throw the line out not straight from the penalty restart. So a chance to kind of get down the Irish end and maybe get a quick fire double is taken away from them by kind of their own hands with a not straight line out, man. Like, that's when you're 27 points to 10 down. You need that kind of moment. So that not straight results in a scrum, and that scrum results in an Irish penalty. So that's how this game just turns on a head. Ireland take a moment where they made a mistake and turned it into a penalty for them. So that, as I said, is just kind of the difference. I mean, Liam Williams does seem to be gathering a bit of confidence. He's tried a couple of kick returns. The second one, he does manage to find a bit of space. He gets the ball to Tipuric, who chucks a way wide ball to Rio Dyer. Again, it's just a little bit too much. Like it's a chance, but nothing comes from it. Liam Williams gets clobbered in the air by, well, he's not in the air, Henderson's in the air. Ian Henderson's just come on from the bench, tries to charge Liam Williams down from making a kick. Does one of those ones where, because he's jumping, he's airborne, he can't change direction, he just lands on Liam Williams, he concedes a penalty. Maybe a wee bit lucky not to get yellow carded, because we saw a couple of those in Super Rugby last year, red carded when the guy airborne doing the charge down hits the guy on the ground in the head. But I mean, Liam Williams wasn't hit in the head, but it was only a penalty. But again, Wales lose the ball after the line out. I mean, Sexton gave it back to them with a cross kick, which I think Rio Dyer managed to pinch. But it's just those kind of execution errors. Ireland still chasing that bloody bonus point. Rhys Carre managed to win a breakdown penalty to halt that one. You're wondering at this point, it's 60 minutes, man. Ireland haven't scored, a try since the James Lowe try on 21 minutes. So it's been a wee while. It may not come. And then Wales are down the other end. Again, like tacking 5 metre line out. James Ryan with a bloody line out steal. Like, Wales' execution at times I mean, what can you say? It's just a good Irish player, poor Welsh player, a bit of both, right? You need to be able to win your own line-out. Ireland have got a great defensive line-up, but if you're Wales, man, you need to get that. You're still 17 points behind. Even if you score, you're still going to be more than a score behind. Can't get it done. And then it gets worse for Wales. They go from losing that attacking opportunity to Liam Williams putting in a high shot on Sexton, and he gets yellow carded. They showed a shot of Sexton kind of giving a wee wink. And I think some people in the crowd maybe interpreted that wink to mean that he stayed down when he didn't need to, but I don't think that's the case. I think he was giving a wink to say, I'm okay. But anyway, who knows what the meaning of his wink was. But I think Sexton didn't do the post-match interview because he was having an HIA anyway. We know what issues that guy has had with concussion. So it was concerning to say the least when he got hit in the head anyway. But yeah, how Wales managed the yellow card initially pretty well. Rhys Webb catches Craig Casey, who's come on at the back of the scrum. But then George North gets held up in a tackle by Sexton and others. So bit of a turnaround. And then finally, it takes them 15 phases, but Ireland eventually get that bonus point they've been hunting. The Welsh guys, I think by this point, are pretty much out on their feet. They've done a lot of tackling in this game overall. But yeah, even more so with the man down. I mean, some of the Irish hands in the build-up have been phenomenal. Ross Byrne's come on. He's looked all right. I mean, Dan Sheehan's doing crazy offloads to keep the ball from going into touch. So it took a while, but they got there. So it's 34 points to 10. That's the final score. They do kind of play out the remaining few minutes. It almost finished with a Mack Hansen chance did finish with a chance in the corner from I think a Ross Byrne cross kick, but Hansen just couldn't gather the thing from the deck cleanly enough to go over, and he got dragged into touch. So ultimately, man, that's a big old win. 34 points to 10. But man, how many times did we mention Welsh chances just getting butchered or shut down by the Irish? So, I mean, this Irish side is number one in the world for a reason. But if you're Wales, you can at least make that game a bit closer if you take a couple of those chances. But as I said, combination of some Welsh errors and some bloody good Irish defence means the scoreline looks pretty hairy for Warren Gatland's return. Run meters finished 428 to 415, so Wales actually edged that after being well down in the first half. Position and territory pretty much even out after Wales being on the lesser side in that first half. Clean breaks is 6-3 to Wales, but defenders beaten is 33-15 to Ireland. So that Irish defence, man, is pretty ruthless. Wales end up making almost 200 tackles, which is a ton, man. 191 at 85%, which is solid enough. Like I would say 85 is kind of a solid middle. It's not poor, it's not great. Whereas Ireland with 156 tackles at 91%, anything over 90 is genuinely class. So that's where Ireland are at. Penalties conceded finish 14-13, so Ireland one fewer. Like I mentioned, when Ireland had the ref just smashing Wales with the penalty count, they made the most of it at the start of that first half. Interestingly, I mean, turnovers conceded is 13-6 by Wales, and that's, for me, of all the stats in this game, that's the key one. Wales just lacking that kind of clinical edge, a little bit too much rust. Some of that's pressure from Ireland, and then some of that's just errors. So, yeah, man, not all doom and gloom, despite the scoreline, but man, Ireland are good. Individuals, Keenan gets man of the match, 80 run meters, defenders beaten 3, and just in the air, imperious, isn't he? Doris, 19 tackles, plus he gets a try. Sheehan gets 6 defenders beaten. I'm surprised he didn't get a try. I think he wanted one. Liam Williams, 7 defenders beaten, 2 clean breaks, 86 metres, a yellow card as well. Ken Owens and Luke Morgan, 19 tackles as well. But, yeah, about to go watch England and Scotland. Probably have another cup of coffee because it's 5:30 now. I've been talking to you guys for 14 minutes. Hope you're all good. Take care of yourselves. Let us know your thoughts on the game. And, yes, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.